Robert Scoble, best known perhaps on the internet as Scobleizer on Twitter. How many followers do you have?
I don't know, somewhere around 151,000.
But they're real, they're organic, right?
Well, at least since last year, because I deleted everybody I was following and manually followed everybody back that I cared about. And that means the people following me are actually following me. They're not bots who are expecting a follow back.
When the history of social media gets finally written, you're going to definitely be seen as a pioneer. How has your life changed in terms of your remarkable public profile today? How many people know about you, know about your life, your relationships, your family, your visions, your professional associations?
It's quite weird. I mean, I was walking around Paris with Mike Arrington a year ago, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, Scoble," and didn't even notice Mike was standing there. I was like, "Oh, that's sort of funny." And but that sort of makes sense because I'm on video a lot, and so people get used to my face and recognize me in the street and stuff like that. I've gotten invited to remarkable events and people's homes, and had some really remarkable experiences because of this.
Do people always think they know you before they meet you?
Yeah, it's sort of weird because people will say, "Oh, how's Ryan doing?" And I'm like, "Who are you again?" You know?
And who's that's
my son, right. Or they'll talk to me about my car or something like that because they've seen me talk about it, and that's sort of weird because I have no idea, or I have very little idea often who I'm talking to and what makes them interesting. Although Twitter is an interesting thing because I meet people all the time the same way. It's like, I know you, you're on Twitter, and I'm reading you every day, and I know these things about you, and that's a different way to have a relationship with an audience than was possible 20 years ago, where the audience was something on that other side of that glass lens, and you didn't hear from them or weren't able to study them in the way that you are today.
So relationships are unfolding at a different pace and a different nature today?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at like Instagram and how many people put photos up every hour, every minute, and you can see photos from all over the world. I love just paging through there, and there's a photo from Japan and a photo from London and a photo from Bali. I mean, and so you get to see a everyday person's world in a way that you never would have 20, 30 years ago.
Is privacy dead?
To me it is.
You mean you personally?
I don't even think me personally, even if we tried to have a conversation that was private, the likelihood that was going to stay private is not all that high anymore.
But it is. If we shut the cameras off and you said to me, "I don't want this to get out of this room." And
yeah, but even that stuff gets out, right? I mean,
Does it?
Yeah, it does. I was having a conversation with a friend and in Skype and thinking that it was sort of private, and where we're just having a discussion back and forth. And his first impulse was, "Can I put this up on my blog?" And I'm like, ugh.
What about when you're talking with your wife, though?
Yeah, I mean, there is some privacy, but even my wife, she puts stuff up on her Facebook page, and it's like, what? Oh, I did say that. And now all her friends know, what I'm arguing with her about or whatever.
Does it worry you at all, though, this world that you've played quite an important role in building? Does it worry you in terms of say, your son, of inheriting this world?
My son is swimming in this world and understands it in a way that I think I had no clue when I was in high school, that I would be talking to generals in the Russian army, or that I'd be going to TED and meeting, all sorts of famous leaders, or my son has a guy in the White House on his Facebook, and knows that, hey, if something goes down in the White House right now, he can talk to somebody actually there.
How old's your son?
Patrick's 16, and I have a 3 and a 1-year-old. And their ideas of privacy and what matters to them are very different than what I think me and you would argue about. I mean, my son was texting with one of his guy friends, and it turned out that a girl had stolen his guy friend's phone and was using it to interrogate him for information. And that's a situation that I don't really worry about too much in my life, but in his life that was a huge drama deal, because he was talking about the girl that was, on the other side of the phone, and he didn't know it was the girl. He thought it was his guy friend.